Jai Shri Ram. Next experiment, what we are going to see is chloride test. That is using Morse titration method. What are the learning objective? Understand the effects of chloride, methodology to determine the chloride, and compare with the drinking water standard. The aim of the experiment is to determine the amount of chloride in a given water sample. It may be drinking water, it may be sewage water, right? So the materials and equipments required, we require conical flask, beaker, burette, pipette, distilled water. Chemical is 0.0141 normal standard silver nitrate solution, potassium chromate as a indicator, right? So here, first theory part, what we are going to see, the chloride in the form of chloride ion is very important, or the major inorganic ions, or the which causes salty taste, right? The chloride ion concentration or the chloride concentration is variable and it depends upon the chemical composition. If the chloride value is higher, then the wastewater in the raw water is integrated, right? In the sea or in the coastal areas, chloride content will be very high because of the inorganic salt or the salt which is salt water intrusions, right? So the common chloride which is added to the water is generally sodium chloride and magnesium chloride. Small amount of chloride is required for our normal cell function for the human being, but heavy chloride or the more chloride will have the severe problem for the water what we are going to drink, right? So chloride ion is essential for our electrolytic balance in our bodies, but more chloride will have the problem, right? So the chloride concentration in the water can be attributed to the leaching of chloride containing rocks or the soil, right? Or the leaching of or the mixing of wastewater from chemical industry, ice cream plant, edible oil mill operation, sewage disposal, irrigation damage, etc. Generally, human being will discharge around 8 to 10 grams per day of sodium chloride using our urine or our excreta. How the chloride, excessive chloride is removed? That is using reverse osmosis process or evaporation and distillation method or electrodialysis method. The seawater, if I test the seawater, the chloride content is around 19,000 to 20,000 milligram per liter. That is 3.5% of salt. So chloride for our drinking water, it should be less than 20 to 50 milligram per liter, right? Chloride is generally not harmful for the people, but sodium part of the chloride will have problems for the heart as well as kidney. It will give the problem for the human beings. And if the chloride water is used for the irrigation, then it will have the salination of the water or the waterlogging, and the reducing of the fertility of the soil will occur. In the concrete, also the chloride content should be restricted. It should be less than 500, right? So when I will do the chloride test using the silver nitrate solution, so whatever the NaCl is there, AgNO3 silver nitrate, it will form sodium nitrate and silver chloride, right? So that is a general procedure. While doing the test, generally the pH range should be between 7 to 8. What is the test method? First I will take around 25 ml of sample. of the wastewater. I will put that in the conical flask. I will adjust the pH using the alkali or acidic solution, because 7 to 8 should be the pH range. I have to add 2 to 3 drops of potassium chromate. When I will add potassium chromate as an indicator, yellowish green color will come. Then titrate this with standard AgNO3 solution, that is 0.014 normal AgNO3, until the reddish brown color comes, or brick red color. Note down the volume. So I will take this as V1. That is using the part A, using the sample. Next, blank test I have to do. That means same 25 ml of distilled water I will take in a conical flask. Repeat the procedure. Using I will add potassium chromate. The color will be yellow. Titrate it with the AgNO3 until yellow to brick red, right? That is called blank test. So first one is sample, second one is distilled water. So this is the procedure. Next we will see how to conduct the test. Namaste to everyone. Now I will demonstrate how chloride is determined in a water sample. Chloride is very, very important parameter in a water, because salt contents sometimes will add into the water, which will start contaminating the water. So for a drinking water, we should know what is the chloride value, maximum permissible chloride value. If you go very nearer to the seashore, the chloride value goes on increasing, right? So similarly, if the wastewater contamination is there in the water's source, then the chloride will be very high. Even in the wastewater, chloride value will be higher. For this experiment, we require AgNO3 silver nitrate solution, that is 0.0141 normal. Then indicator used here is potassium dichromate, right? Then these are the two important chemicals. Then we require distilled water. Afterwards, as usual, we require burette, we require pipette, we require standard flask, we require funnel and the stand, right? So here two sets we have to do. First we have to do the test for the sample of water, of which I have to find out the chloride content. Then another set, similar procedure has to be repeated for the distilled water, right? So I will take 25 ml of sample. Then I will add potassium dichromate. Now you can see yellowish green color solution, right? Next, in the burette, I will take AgNO3 solution, silver nitrate solution, which is already poured. Note down the initial reading. Now we have to titrate it with the sample with the AgNO3 until it comes brick red color. So we should be very, very careful while doing the titration. If the water is not contaminated, the red color will come very, very early. Now you can see the brick red color, right? So initial and final. Initial greenish yellow, end point is brick red. Next, this is for the sample. Note down the volume of AgNO3 which is consumed. 3 trials I have to do. Get the minimum 3 trials until I get the accurate answer, right? Next, once again in the conical flask, I will take 25 ml of distilled water, right? So for the distilled water, same procedure is repeated. Potassium dichromate. Now for the distilled water, it should be very, very slow procedure, because the value will be very, very less. the brick red color comes. Note down the initial reading as well as final reading. Similarly, I have to do the 3 trials. V1 was the amount of AgNO3 consumed for the sample. V2 is the amount of AgNO3 consumed for the blank, that is for the distilled water, right? V1 and V2. So formula is V1 minus V2 into 35.45 into 1000 divided by the ml of sample which I have taken. Now I have taken both 25 ml. Say if I am doing the water which is containing very high chloride, that means so much of AgNO3 consuming, means I will take not 25 ml, I will take 5 ml or 2 ml of sample because it will consume more AgNO3, right? Say for example, the sea water if we are going to test, then the chloride content is around 8000 to 9000 milligram per liter. In that case, for the titration, you require more time and more chemical. So, in that sense, I will take very small quantity of sample. I will titrate. Then I will note down the reading. Right. Next calculation part we will see. Next we will see the tabular column as well as calculation. Very simple. For the sample as well as blank, initial reading, final reading, note down the V1, initial reading, final reading, note down the V2, minimum 3 trials I have to do using this table. Next calculation, very simple. Whatever the V1, we got V2, V1 into V1 minus V2 into N, N is normality is 0.0141, 35.45 into 1000 divided by ml of sample, that is 25 ml. Note down the value of chloride. Right. So finally, I will write down the result sheet. What is the chloride value in mg per liter? Compare it with standard IS code, that is 10,500 for drinking water. Thank you.